Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make an origami crane. Origami is the Japanese art of paper folding, and a crane is one of the many popular shapes that people make using origami. Now, this is always made with paper, and if you have origami paper at home, that's great, but you don't need origami paper. You can prepare your own paper to use for this. So a lot of you probably have computer paper at home or lined notebook paper, anything like that. Basically what you need is a perfect square for your origami. So I'm going to show you how to make a rectangular piece of paper into a perfect square. If it's a rectangle that already has straight edges, like this is a piece of 8.5 by 11 computer paper, all you have to do is take the top corner, bring it down, and line it up super neatly, and then crease your paper. You don't want to use thick paper to do this, like construction paper, because it's going to make it really hard to do all of your detailed folds as you get farther along, but something like this will work fine. So now we have this triangle shape and this extra rectangle of scrap over here. This triangle will unfold to make your whole square, but all you need to do is take your scissors and just trim off that excess and recycle the scrap. And there you go. You will have a perfect square to use for your origami paper. I am going to use this colored origami paper to show you how to do this, just because it's colored on one side and white on the other, so the folds are going to show up better on the camera when I'm explaining everything. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold my square in half to make a triangle. Make sure you're doing this as neatly as you can manage. The better your folds line up and come to clean points and clean edges, the easier time you're going to have when you're working on this. And take the time to run your finger over the creases. So I have this triangle, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half again to make another triangle. And don't worry if your first one doesn't come out perfect. This is something that takes practice. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, the more precise and clean your folds will be. Now I'm going to open this. There's like a little pocket right here. I'm going to put my fingers in there and open that pocket if you need to. Use your fingers to help everything pop out neatly. And then press it down and run your fingers over the creases again. So we're at this shape so far. And now I'm going to flip it over and do the exact same thing again. We're going to open this pocket. I'm going to use my finger to make sure I get nice clean edges. And then flatten all of my edges out, just like this. Okay? Now, you want to make sure that the open end of your folded shape is facing towards you as you continue to do the next folds. Otherwise, your crane is not going to come out right. Now, on each side, you have two flaps, the top flap and the bottom flap. I'm going to take the top flap and fold it over to that middle line and run my fingers over the crease. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, right here. And then I'm going to fold this down and crease it and fold it back. And then I'm going to open all that back up. The reason we're doing this is because it gives the paper crease lines that make it easier to fold it and bend it along as we continue to make shapes for the origami crane. So now, with that opening that I wanted to keep facing towards me, I'm going to carefully pop this up, run my fingers along these creases to turn it inside out, and I'm going to flatten that whole shape. Kind of makes like a long, skinny kite or diamond shape. And I'm going to flatten it all out, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to want to flip it over and do the same thing on this side. So again, I'm going to take this flap and I'm going to bend towards the middle and run my fingers over the fold. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. Crease it, and I'm going to bend this down again. And then I'm going to open it all back up. And then I'm going to take this tab that's right down here, and just like I did before, I'm going to pop that open. I'm going to take those creases I made and flip them inside out. Take your time. Don't rush it because you don't want to rip anything. Straighten it out carefully. If you need to, just go over it with your fingernail or something. I've seen people use like a toothpick if there's a really tiny thing they can't get into and their fingernails aren't long enough, and flatten that out. So we have this. Looks like you have these two little leg shapes down here, and then these triangle tabs up top. So on each side, you again have a top tab and a bottom tab, top and bottom. I'm going to take this top and I'm going to fold this over to meet the center line. Whoops, wait, I forgot a step. Let's see. Nope, that's right. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to take that top tab and fold it over. And take that tab on the left and fold that over to meet the middle as well. So you wind up with this shape. Okay. And then flip it and do the same thing on the other side again. You'll find yourself doing that a lot in origami. You'll do something on one side and then you'll flip your paper and repeat it again on the other side. So careful, careful. Flatten everything out. All right, so we are almost done. Now these two like legs down here are what are going to become the neck and head of the crane and the tail. So first we have to make more crease lines to help them bend the way we want them to go. So I'm going to fold this way, and then I'm going to fold that way. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to fold and fold again. Okay, and then take your time on this. Using those fold lines, you're going to kind of flip this inside out and push it up. Okay, I'll do that again. Using that crease line, I'm popping this open a little bit and then pushing it backwards. It's moving along that middle fold that leg has, and I'm pulling it out and straightening it out so it looks like that. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm opening it a little bit, pushing with my thumb to turn it inside out. Those creases I made are moving nicely, and then I'm just going to neaten things out as best as I can. And this is where it's important to make sure that you were doing all your folds nice and neat, because when you get down into these little skinny edges, it can be really tricky to make sure that everything folds the way you need it to. So I'm going to go just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take this end that didn't fold quite as well, and I'm going to turn this into the head. So that gets folded back in again. I'm going to crease it with my fingernail just a little bit there and pinch it. And it goes back in on itself to become the head. And then these are the wings. This gets folded down. It gets folded down again on that side. And then you can carefully stretch it out. Do it nice and slowly and kind of work the paper into a nice open shape. Do it slowly so that you don't rip it. And there you go. That is how to make a paper crane. Now, if you found yourself stuck at a step, pause it, replay a part of the video, watch it as many times as you need, and honestly, just practice. And you'll be making tons of paper cranes before you know it. All right, have fun, everyone.